All right, today is July 30th of 2023, and to start things off today, I've got a question for you. Since we are now real time, this is something I've been debating for a while. I've got the boat up off the cradle, and originally I raised the keel up like this because I wanted they've got a, not even sure what they call the line, baseline I guess it is, that goes from the water line down to 6 feet. So there's a level that's 6 feet, then you got the water line. And what that amounts to is I set the boat up so that the top of the cradle here is exactly 6 feet to the water line. So my baseline is real. I mean, that 6 foot line is real. And that's the way the whole boat is set up. So it's set up on blocks, a couple of jacks there, more blocks here, and then, I don't know, these aren't doing a whole lot, but a couple of boat stands there. But what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to get this thing dropped down. One way or the other, it needs to come down. Whether I drop it all the way down and just lay the keel on the 8x8s here, or if I drop it down back there, then just bring the front down to level, waterline level. I don't know, but I need to get it down. So we've got these 4x4s and 4x6s supporting the hull right now, keeping it from tipping over. So my question to you is, any good ideas on how to lower this boat down to the cradle without having it tip over? Now, my thought process is, to leave like a couple of posts, these support posts, all the way aft in place, and then take the middle ones out, and then have one more up forward, maybe not quite here, but maybe in here somewhere, and just have somebody holding it and pull it away an inch or whatever, and then hydraulic jacks, jack it up just a little bit, pull some boards out, lower it down an inch, and just keep doing that, so that if the hull does decide to tip one way or the other, we can catch it. Yeah, sounds real safe, doesn't it? But otherwise, I thought about contriving some sort of a hinged solid point to the walls. I don't know. Need to think about it some more, but I'm thinking probably just inching it down is probably going to be the best way to do it. But God, you don't want to tip the boat over. And I mean, it shouldn't really take a whole lot to, unless it starts going, which it probably isn't. I mean, it isn't going to take a whole lot to stop it, if you catch it early enough. But anyway, that's what I've been thinking about, and wondering if anybody has done this or had any great ideas on a more effective way to do it. I mean, I suppose you could put jacks all the way around, and then just try to lower the jacks equally as you go. Yeah, the problem with that is, of course, hydraulic jacks. Oh, Moose, what are you doing here? I suppose you could use hydraulic jacks, but they're kind of hard to control. Screw jacks, like house jacks, would be better, be easier to control. Which I guess I could get some more of those, or take those out when I'm doing it. Those basement jacks are, you can get them in different lengths. You could actually get one of those screw type jacks that actually is tall enough to go up to the hull here, down to the floor. I don't know. Anyway, if anybody has ever done this or has some really good ideas, let me know in the comments. I'm interested to hear what you think. because I'm not sure what the best way to do it's going to be. All right, anyway, carry on. And something a little different here, you can see. Kind of zebra-ized. Yeah, that's a word, zebra-ized. My boat. And why did I do that? We had, as most of the country has had, some really hot, humid weather. Wasn't doing a whole lot out here. The building was closed up, no air movement, and I got mold, surface mold, starting on some of these planks, predominantly on this side here. What I did was I went through and I used my moisture meter, my wood moisture meter, this little guy here, and any plank that was over 16% moisture, I put an X on here, and then I came by, well, the ones that had a little bit of mold on them, I cleaned them off first, scraped them off and wiped them down, and then I put some of my copper naphthenate on there. But you can see there's quite a few planks over here that were fairly moist, fairly wet. There was a few of them that were even up, 40% or something like that. It was crazy. So I don't know. I think I've heard that when they process this stuff in the kiln, they put a big stack in there. I suppose they have spacers in there, but the stuff, the wood that's in the middle of that stack when it goes into the kiln doesn't get nearly as dry as the outside stuff. I had nothing on anything else on the boat, none of the older planking. It was all just this newer stuff, and predominantly on the other side, which would be the newest stuff. So you can see over here, there's very few planks that were above 16%. And on the other side, there was a lot of them, so that was the freshest wood. Now, that little bit of surface mold isn't going to hurt anything. I did a little research on it, and yeah, it's not going to hurt anything, but I thought, let's get it stopped and get that copper naphthenate on there. The copper naphthenate, once it dries, really isn't going to hurt anything. The glue will still stick to it. Probably it's going to stick better to just the regular plain wood, but it's going to be adequately screwed and glued on the plywood, so I'm not worried about it. In fact, I did some tests early on. I treated some wood with copper naphthenate and both painted and glued it to see what would happen, and it was fine. So that's where we were there. You can also see I got this little lip here all trimmed down, and it's not too bad. There's a few little inconsistencies in there, a little waviness here and there. Nothing I'm going to worry about. When the boat's in the water, you're not going to see that, and when the plywood goes on, it's going to probably take a little bit of that out too. But I need to get the ends trimmed up here too now. Get that stuff trimmed off, and I'm going to need to get plywood on the transom here first, because I need to get my rudder established, and I can do that with, that's only a 1/2 inch plywood, so I could just measure that out. But that's one of the first things I need to do is to get, when I start putting plywood on, is get that plywood on. I think I told you, maybe, I got the stuff for the shaft and the propeller started, at least. They had to order the housings for the bearings, the packing box in the front, and the bearing in the stern here in the aft, the cutlass bearing. Had to order the housings, and that was 8 to 10 weeks. Told them, I said, it's no big hurries, but get it going so we get that stuff done. So I've got that stuff coming, or initiated anyway. I suppose they order them at the factory and then get them going. I got my my regulator in. I don't know where I got it. Put it away somewhere up here. But I got the regulator in. I got my hose in for my raw water intake and in my filter here. Get that stuff in, so I'll be able to start on that pretty soon. I'm going to have to pull let me get up in here. I'm going to have to pull the floorboards up in here in the engine room. And I've also been coating this stuff with the copper naphthenate. You can see down in there and back in there, I've been painting that copper naphthenate in there. Not a real pleasant job, especially since I got a knee that's been bothering me again here lately too, so it's not a lot of fun crawling around there doing that. But I need to get this stuff pulled up at some point so I can paint the copper naphthenate in all this area through here too. There's going to be a few places where it's going to be a problem. You know, this area under here did not get treated, and so that area under the settee is going to be kind of tough to get to. So I don't know, I guess we either cut holes and hatches in there or just hope for the best. One of the two. Yeah, we'll have to see about that. But yeah, here's this regulator. We'll see how this works. My lithium batteries are supposed to be run on a profile, an AGM profile, absorbed glass matte battery profile. And because this thing does not have a lithium profile, so, but it says it's supposed to run just fine on an AGM profile. So that's what we're going to try, and we'll see how that works. But because this voltage coming out of this this house regulator, this 175 amp alternator here, voltage would be too high for the lithium batteries. So yeah, so I have to do that. But as is with most of the country and most of the rest of the world, it's been really hot here lately, and so I haven't been doing just a whole lot. A lot of times I'll come out in the morning, do a little bit of work, and then come out in the evenings and put a little bit of work in, but not getting just huge amounts done. Because like I've said in the past, when it gets hot and humid, if I don't have to work, I don't. And I put a top step in there too. Not that it needs it right now, but it's there for the future. Isn't that right, Archie? And the steel's all ready to go. So at some point we'll have to start on that too. But I got a little more trimming to do. You can see all the sawdust and shavings down here. That was from trimming the chine point down there. But anyway, that's what I've been up to. Not a whole lot to report, but yeah, hopefully it cools down here and I'll get more done.